I'm Dr. Marina Aimbridge, a dentist from Peoria, Arizona, and in this series, I'm going to tell you all that you need to know about dental and portrait photography. You might be wondering how a dentist would know about cameras and photography. Well, I started modeling before I pursued dentistry. I signed my first modeling contract with Elite Model Management when I was in high school. And since then, I've spent countless hours in front of the camera, and not only did I learn about the right facial expressions and angles that make you look best in pictures, I also worked with many professional photographers who taught me a lot about photography. Apart from this, I have completed multiple photography-related courses and traveled to over 40 countries where I gained hands-on experience by working with people from different cultures and backgrounds. This experience played an important role in teaching me about photography in dentistry. Now, you must be wondering, there are many other series and courses available on photography. So what makes this one so special? In this particular video series, you will be learning about the two core aspects of professional photography, behind the camera and in front of the camera, meaning you will learn how to leverage the full potential of technology and how to best communicate with your patient or model to get the shots that you need. We will start with the basics, such as specifications of a camera and other equipment, and will gradually move towards the more advanced settings that will help you get the ideal shot. Moreover, I'll be sharing with you some awesome tips and tricks that will allow you to push the limits of dental photography and capture stunning photos that will pop on social media. Let's start by learning some common but crucial terms that every photographer must be familiar with. First comes shutter speed. This refers to the amount of time the shutter of the camera is open to capture a photo. Next up is ISO, which is the sensitivity of the sensor to light. Apart from this, there is aperture, which refers to the size of the hole that allows light onto your camera's sensor. The interplay between light, shutter speed, ISO, and aperture is called exposure. In simple words, exposure is the time it takes for the camera to generate or capture a photo. Exposure basically affects the brightness of a picture. The more the light hits the sensor during exposure, the brighter the picture will be. Now, in order to increase the brightness, we can increase the amount of light that hits the sensor, decrease the shutter speed, that is, let the shutter stay open for a longer time, increase the aperture size to let more light in at once, or make the camera more sensitive to light by increasing the ISO. However, each of these methods affect the photo in a different way. If you lower the shutter speed and have the sensor open for longer, there is a higher probability that the picture will be blurry. Now, the problem is it is literally impossible to fix a blurry picture. So it is important to pay special attention to that. And if you increase the aperture size to the maximum amount, the camera will focus too much on one point and the rest of the picture will be blurry. This can be an issue when taking clinical photos of teeth because you want all the teeth to be in maximum focus. If you increase the ISO too much, the image will become grainy. Ideally, adding more light using flash will allow you to get the right amount of brightness without having to change other settings. Let's do an experiment and see how all of these factors come into play. Here is my starting photo. If we lower the amount of light that hits the sensor, we will have to play with the other settings in order to maintain the same amount of exposure or brightness. If we try to maintain our brightness by opening the aperture, we get more blurring of the objects that are in the background. If we try to keep the shutter open for long to maintain the correct exposure, we start getting blurring of anything that is moving while the shutter is open. If we try to maintain brightness by increasing the ISO, making the camera sensor more sensitive to light, we can start introducing noise into the photo. When you shoot in the automatic mode, the camera gets to choose how it will compensate for the lighting. On the other hand, if you put your camera in manual mode, you can adjust specific parameters to get the perfect shot. So that's all for now. Let's move on to the next lesson.